Alexandria Webb. I tripped and fell over my cat, and that head injury has taken me back in time. Lost in 1982, and all I can do is fight and search and stay alive. Somehow, I will find a way home. Natural look means clear, healthy skin, shining eyes, and just a little makeup to define eyes, cheeks, and lips. Skincare is really important, and regular cleanse, tone and moisturising routine is what you need to keep your skin looking clean, soft and healthy. So today I'm trying something new. I am trying a makeup tutorial. That is something I've never done before. I have done hair tutorials in the past, way back at the start of my channel, but I've never done makeup tutorials before. I did mention on Instagram a couple of weeks ago that I found a load of my mum's old Jackie magazine annuals from the late 70s and early 80s at my grandma's, and I asked if there'd be any interest in me recreating some of the looks from the makeup tutorials in them. There was a bit of interest, and I thought I'd start today. Today I'm actually not doing one from one of the annuals I found at my grandma's. I'm using one from More of the Best of the Jackie annual. It doesn't actually say which year it's from. I would say it's early 80s. I know it's not 1981, as one of the annuals I found at my grandma's is from 1981. So I suspect it's 1982 or 1983. As the other look in this spread is very similar to how they did Keely Hawes' makeup when she plays Alex Drake in Ashes to Ashes. And in Ashes to Ashes she was sent back in time and was there between 1981 and 1983. So I've already done some prep work. I've toned and moisturised my face, and I have my hair up in curls. In the actual tutorial she's using rollers, but it doesn't say anything about how to use the rollers or anything, it just says curly hair. I don't have any rollers of that type. The only rollers I have are like the really narrow sort of foam rollers, and I have some really awful Velcro rollers that I bought years ago and I never use because they just tangle my hair. So I've just basically just rolled them into sort of victory roll kind of things and pinned them, and you get the same sort of effect really. So that's how I did it. You could use straighteners or curling tongs if you want, whatever your preferred way of curling your hair is. So basically straight away we're off to start having trouble with. Basically it says to apply foundation using a dampened makeup sponge. This is not how I would usually apply my foundation at all, and you can kind of tell because I do apologise for the mirror, I can't do this for the viewfinder. But yeah, you can tell I don't usually do my makeup like this because I'm having serious issues putting my foundation on like this. Yeah, this is, I basically wetted the sponge and wrung out as much water as I possibly could. It kind of looks like I'm not even putting any makeup on at all, which I guess may be the point. I'm not sure. But yeah, it just, maybe it's just the blend of foundation I'm using. It's entirely possible that foundation was different then. But yeah, so it says to apply foundation to your face and neck. There seems to be an awful lot more than I would usually use going on. Usually what I tend to do is I tend to use the back of my hand to do my foundation. I have way too much on that bit of sponge there now. Usually I use the back of my hand. My fingers to apply my foundation. I don't usually use sponges. Sometimes I'll use a brush. But yeah, the makeup sponges I own I mostly use when I'm doing nail art for gradients. If you don't know how to do that, then I would suggest checking out Simply Nailogical's channel, because it doesn't say anything about setting powder, so I'm guessing they just used cream foundation. which if you're using a dampened sponge, I would imagine would take absolutely ages to dry. So I'm probably going to speed this bit up while I wait for my foundation to sink in. I guess maybe this is where that myth about people taking hours to get ready in the morning comes from. I guess it wasn't a myth at one point. Everybody just sat around waiting for their cream foundation to sink into their skin at long last. Next, we're applying a dusty pink blush from cheekbones to temples, again with the sponge. Basically, I would never apply blush with a sponge because I don't really like makeup sponges, if I'm honest. I'm not a huge fan of them. I know some people like them and it's up to you, but I can just never get them to look right. And I really don't think this is helping at all. It says to blend out the edges so there aren't any harsh lines. But given that I've gone up to my temples with this crazily bright blush, I think no amount of blending is going to make this look even vaguely natural. You know, unless we're trying to imply I have is it recrutia? Is that thing where like microbes lay eggs in your face and you end up looking really red? Is that the thing? Am I thinking of something else? Either way, yeah, this just looks really, really bright to me. Hello, stir fry! And the source material, it still looks pretty bright even with the blending anyway, so yeah, I guess historical accuracy! Woo! Next up is the eye makeup, and it is to use a golden brown on the lid area and a frosted ginger on the brow bone. So I am using this is my golden brown. I hope you can see it there. This one here and this one down here. This is what I reckon is roughly frosted ginger. Kind of interesting that it starts with the darker colour at the bottom. I used to do this actually. I did used to start from darkest and blend out, but I now actually find it easier to start with the lighter colours and work inwards and then blend as I go. I do think when it says I do think when it says lids, it really just means lids. I don't think it means anywhere else. Just the lids, so I am just, as it says, doing the lids. I am blending out a little bit, but having seen a lot of makeup from the 80s, you can't really tell from pictures here in this whether they did do much blending. But you know, I've seen pictures of makeup from the time, and blending doesn't seem to have been a big thing then. It's kind of hard for me because I'm, you know, usually I'm blend, all of the blending. By brow area, it literally means from here up to the brow, judging on the picture. So that is a lot going on, really. There does seem to be a little more blending going on with the brow area than there is anywhere else in the look. So I am going to bring my blending brush back in a moment. Usually find when I'm doing brow areas it's a lot easier to look up while I'm doing it. One thing I noticed that there's absolutely no mention of is brows themselves. There's no mention of like making brows darker, lighter, whatever. And it looks okay in the model because she has fairly dark brows, but I have really light brows and there's no mention what to do if you have light brows. Now, given that it's supposed to be natural look, I'm thinking that that's because you would leave it anyway. But given how really unnatural this eye makeup looks, because you know you don't get frosted ginger brows in frosted ginger brow bones in nature, and you certainly don't get golden brown eyes, like golden brown eye sockets either. Yeah, all of these ridiculously bright cheeks, and I just realised that the blending on that isn't great, so I'm gonna blend that out a little more. Yeah, you don't really get these colours in life. So I would personally, if I was doing this for some strange reason, I would probably put a bit of brow powder on, just to make my eyebrows stand out a little more. Next up is the mascara, and it says to use 2 coats of mascara. Personally, I would never put more than 1 coat on, and that's even when I'm doing something a bit more extreme. I would only use 1 coat of mascara, but this is apparently what passed for natural in the early 80s, and so I will do as it says. You let the first layer dry before doing the second layer. Just get a little bit of smudgy there, and I forgot to bring over a paper towel, but here, look, I have a sponge. Here, spongy, spongy, sponge. Actually, yay, I found a use for makeup sponges. Woo! See what the second layer is going to look like on me if I don't drop my mascara. More than 1 layer of mascara on my eyes feel really weird because I'm used to only having like 1 layer on. Like, my lashes feel so heavy. All I can think is the first time I wore mascara did it feel like this, because, you know, obviously the first time I wasn't used to having 1 layer on, and obviously now I don't notice it. Was this a thing? Step is to add lipstick. Now, I was really surprised to discover that she's using liquid lipstick here. I honestly I thought liquid lipstick was a fairly new thing. I was expecting just a lipstick stick, because until recently I'd never heard of liquid lipstick. I'm guessing maybe the formula was different and it didn't have the staying power of the liquid lipsticks that we use now, but she is definitely using liquid lipstick for a long-lasting shine, according to this. To use a russet colour in the book, but their idea of russet looks very similar to this quite bright looking red. If you look at this and then look at the picture of the book, they're very similar shades. I mean, it's slightly brighter, but not by very much. And I don't know about you, but I've never seen anybody with lips this bright naturally without lipstick. The last step completely is to take your hair down and see what this poofy girl looks like. Look, the early 80s answer to a natural look. Yeah, so the early 80s and I have very different ideas of what the natural look is, but actually I think with a couple of tweaks I might wear something very similar to this again. I like how my hair looked. You can't really tell from my camera angle, I'm so sorry. I really must find a better place to do stuff, but yeah, the curls stayed quite well. And the makeup itself doesn't look too bad. I'd probably blend it a little bit more, and I'd give myself some eyebrow definition and maybe just a little smudge of eyeliner somewhere, because there isn't any and I was expecting some, and I'd probably not quite use and I'd probably not use quite as much blush because the blush looks a little bit silly, if I'm honest.